Hello, hi everyone. My name is Jing. I am a quantum ambassador with IBM. I'm now with IBM Singapore. I also run the cognitive AI portfolio with IBM Systems, where I work with clients and businesses to understand how we can help to solve their problems with technology that we have today. And yeah, I'm very excited to be here today to share with you about my quantum story and especially to the theme of the event. After listening to all the inspiring talks, along with many other amazing women out there who are involved in the quantum space, I'm really happy to be sharing about my own journey with quantum. Um, Yes. So starting from my education background, I did physics at Imperial, and this was where I was introduced to quantum physics and developed a stronger interest into understanding the fundamentals. One of the elective courses that I picked up during my degree was on quantum mechanics, and this was to understand the fundamentals of quantum mechanics and on top of that, another particular interest of mine was in particle physics. And this was where I did my research paper on dark matter research. So identifying the different types of search experiments to look for the potential candidates, from using Cosmo observations to using very sensitive particle detectors, and as well as understanding the tidal streams to look for different classes of particles that will be considered good candidates for dark matter. So, and so going into physics was not something that I always thought that I knew I would be doing. It's just that when I was deciding on a course, whether to go into business or into physics, I thought to get into business, it's always something that I could pick up later on in life. But to understand really the fundamentals of the building blocks of our universe today, physics would be the best course for me to understand a bit further on what we're made out of, right? And after graduating from Imperial, this was when I also decided that I wanted to pursue a career in tech. Also did not come to mind immediately, but I knew I wanted to be in a space where there was a combination of both science and business, where I would be able to understand a bit more about the technical stuff and also communicate it to people in the business world. And at that time, technology to me is always very fast paced, and with new innovations and inventions coming up all the time, I felt that it was something that was impacting our lives on a day-to-day basis. Whether we see it or not, we know that technology is here to help us. And this is where I came across an opportunity to join IBM as an early professional hire. It was where they had a program to train graduates from all backgrounds. So no matter whether you're a business graduate or a science or STEM graduate, they will train you within different roles within IBM. And that was when I started my career with IBM and decided that technology was the industry that I wanted to be in. So starting from being an early professional hire, my first role was being part of the digital business group. And that's where I understood the different systems and solutions that we have today in technology, helping businesses to solve their problems that they have. And because we're a B2B business, I deal a lot with clients across all industries. And that was where I got to really understand where different businesses have their own requirements, and compute power was actually very important. So following that, when a year later, I became a power systems specialist. So this was part of the systems group where it was the compute systems that we have, the compute systems that build up the supercomputers based on power technology, right? So that's where I also got to understand how much power we need to be able to perform different sort of calculations. working with big data, HPC, and AI systems. So again, different industries, you'll see that they will have different needs according to the problems and processes that they have and their operations within the organization. And that was where I got to work closely as well with the academia, where they were actually working on research and development with AI and big data. And on the business side, you could understand how they're using these systems to generate insights from the data that they have for the business. So that was my journey in Malaysia. And like Denise mentioned earlier, that was also when I was introduced to Denise, where she started running the IBM Quantum Ambassador team within IBM. And back then, I was very excited to hear about IBM Quantum when so this was around 2016 when they released that, we're putting the first quantum computer in the cloud. Businesses and everyone around the world can actually start using a real quantum computer. So I was very excited to join the Quantum Ambassador team. And this was where I started, again, touching back into my roots with quantum. And from then onwards, I've been carrying out duties as an ambassador, which is really to talk about quantum and explain to them on our developments and what we've been doing within IBM. And I'll touch base a bit more about on that later on what we're doing within the IBM quantum space. So that was when I started getting back into quantum, understanding using what I've learned a little bit from school to communicate the developments that we have for quantum technology and quantum computing that we have. So I thought that complemented really well because at the same time I could talk to people, businesses, academia, people from all industries about understanding their businesses and what they can do with computing today. And at the same time, we have something really exciting, a new way of computing coming up. And it relates back to what I studied from school. So that was really exciting for me. And from Malaysia, I started, so now moving to Singapore, that was when I started my new role, and it's with the cognitive solutions team. So I was given a task to run the AI portfolio and expand our market here in Singapore within the cognitive solutions team. And again, it uses a lot of compute power in the systems. So when I came to Singapore, this was when I was also involved with a lot of academia, and at the same time, NUS, one of Singapore's universities, joined our network, and we had a lot of events and workshops coming up. So that's where I really got to see both sides of the world, like both business and in science. And that's my role as a cognitive solutions lead. And I'm also now a quantum distinguished ambassador. And I'll talk a bit more about what I do as an ambassador later. So outside of work, I think it's really important to point out that career is very important, but it's also very important to have something to do outside of work. So I practice yoga a lot. So after work, I'll find time to have my own time on the mat. I bake a lot. I play the piano. And of course, I love to eat and explore different cities and traveling when we get to again. And I'm sure Denise loves to travel as well. And this is something that we share in common. And so okay, coming back to my quantum story, as a quantum ambassador, so I cover the AP region, the Asia Pacific region, and a lot of clients that I've covered are in Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, and India. And it's very interesting to see that it's not just one industry, people from one industry trying to get to know more about quantum. And it's really not also about only academia wanting to learn more about how they can use or think about quantum use cases. So covering different regions will also allow me to see what people in different countries or at the stage like what stage of quantum understanding they're at, and whether or not they're ready to embark this journey with quantum. So as an ambassador, um, my job is really to talk about our progress in terms of quantum technology, allowing people to understand more about how we're no longer in research and there's a real quantum computer out there in the cloud, and people with more premium access are members like on the Q network, like CQC, will be able to tap into the more premium machines and do more in-depth work with our quantum devices. And the best part is that we're the only company that put it up for free at the moment, and it's free for everyone to access, and it's the real devices that people are able to access and run millions of experiments on already. So apart from doing that, I'm also mentoring new ambassadors within IBM. So people who have just become ambassadors and are interested to learn more about how they can also talk to people about quantum outside of tech or outside of academia. This is where I started mentoring new ambassadors, and also run quantum workshops. So again, not only in academia, we've found that a lot of business organizations are already looking into how they want to understand how they can use quantum, and recently. And it's not just organizations. So app development companies or financial banking applications, apps that they're building solutions for their clients, they are also interested to know more about how they can actually start looking into quantum and what spaces or what areas they can start to contribute into. And so these workshops involved are talking about understanding the hardware as well as looking into the software that you can use to start coding on these real systems themselves. And it's really helpful because the software kit toolkit that we have called Qiskit is fully open source, and we have a huge community that's contributing to the different algorithms that people are working on, and we've put up all the materials online for people to start getting hands-on with, and to code. All you need to know is Python, and start looking into how you can use the systems with Python and develop new algorithms to be able to solve the problems that potentially you see that can solve within their organizations today. And again, we're also helping the government to build a strategy around how they should anticipate this new wave of computing. It's essentially a new way of identifying problems that you are able to solve that you can't possibly solve before. So the government is also looking to see areas in which they can invest in, and building a strategy to building a quantum safe architecture for the nation. And of course, with academia, see that it's not so even in schools and universities that we've run workshops for, it's not just within the physics or math department or even computer science. We've seen that recent workshops that we've run, the participants are actually from across all different faculties, including those business faculties with no computing or labs background. They're also interested to hear more about how they can start to think about the use cases, and especially for people who are in school, when they get out of school, quantum is probably something that's more readily available for them to tap into, and this is a good starting point for them to start looking into the materials and what you can already do online with the cloud, quantum computing cloud that we've put on Q Experience. So So on top of that, we also talk to high school students, polytechnic students, so O-level, A-level equivalent, wherever you are, and also again universities with the network that we have in Singapore right now. They're able to tap into the more premium access machines, and this is also where we've incorporated a lot of courses, new courses with the lecturers. And see how we can incorporate a quantum computing course within the universities itself. And of course, I've also supported various regional events in Malaysia and Singapore. And right now, I'm also helping out, not helping out, but volunteering to be part of a small research group that the ambassadors have come together with, and to look into a particular use case that we can build on for the quantum space. So that's my role as a IBM Quantum Ambassador. And I find that this complements really well with what I'm already doing as on my AI portfolio, where I meet people and they understand that today we have the amazing systems that IBM have built. We have one of the fastest supercomputers in the world, and it's all based on the same classical computing systems that I talk to clients about. And this is a new way of computing using another system with quantum processors. So I find that although we have the best systems in the world now, we also have something very exciting to look forward to tap into a space where we don't know what we can explore with, but the potential is there, especially when we've also just announced that within the next few years, we're able to see a larger system that will be able to potentially show advantage over the classical systems that we have today. So just another recap on the events that we've been carrying out for my role here. Within this year, even with COVID going on, we've managed to squeeze in a couple of events, both within the country as well as regional and global events that IBM has organized to bring together everyone from around the world. Yeah, so you can see we talk to deep tech people, we involve people from academia and businesses, and we host hackathons to be able to bring in everyone from different backgrounds and understand what they can do with quantum. So to wrap up, here's my quantum journey. I understand. So from my experience, we're always a minority in STEM fields, but I've been very lucky to come across people that I've been working with. Although for me, I don't think there should be a there should be a difference within genders or stereotyping what females or males should be doing. But I've been very lucky to come across mentors, both females and males, that's made me feel very comfortable to embark on this journey within the STEM field. And I think it's important to be comfortable with what you're doing. And when you learn how to listen well and communicate effectively, it should never be a problem whether or not you're a female or male within this industry. And it's best to see what interests you and what makes you think would be your passion to do, and you should always go for it, no matter what industry you're in and whether or not it's a science background, or of course quantum is something that it's also a very male dominated field, but again, I've been very lucky to come across people who are very accepting and it's very comfortable to be in this space. So I hope so I'm still on time. That's all I have to share today, and I'm just gonna quit my full screen so I can see what's going on the chat here.
Jing, thank you so much.
Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to bring up is that IBM really emphasizes, and I think all of us in this group should emphasize, being very realistic when talking about quantum. I know that at the beginning in IBM, people were saying, oh, it can cure cancer, and oh, it can do all this stuff. And the ambassador program was created as a way to really set realistic expectations for people about the promise of this emerging technology, but also kind of the realism. And I think you can see that Jing is like a great embodiment of being able to talk about the technology and even teach how to get started on the technology. So, do we
Mhm.
have any questions? I see Lorraine has joined us. I saw someone from Indonesia joined us. I know our next speaker is waiting. So if I don't see of any questions, you can all email me with a question. And if I can always pass them on to Jing, who I talk to all the time. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jing. Great job. And
Thank
everyone,
you.
hit the red button in the left corner of your screen, and we'll move on to our next talk.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
It was so good
Bye-bye.
to see you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.